20-goal scorer goes to the net. Right down the slot. It's Vince Dunn, and he scores. Going back to last season, Pasternak. Now it's 61 goals. In his last 83 games as his one-timer finds the back of the net. Through center on the goal. Metzger has it in neutral towards the empty cage. He scores again. Alex Ovechkin one closer to 800. Who's the draw? Now it's a 3-on-2 for the Stars. Lindell carries up across ice. Glenrip, and they score! Glendenning went to the net, redirects it. A short-handed goal makes it 4-1 Dallas. That will not make the coach happy.
What the puck is going on?
All right, this is What the Puck is Going On back here for your Friday evening installment of What the Puck is Going On, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here in the Deep End Broadcasting Studios of beautiful, beautiful Virginia Beach, Virginia. Alongside me to cover everything, the little bit of stuff that we have to go over, is Uncle Steve. How we doing today?
Very good, Nephew Dave.
All right, Steve. So
ready for a weekend of hockey?
Yeah, absolutely. And, we've said it before, without the Capitals being in it, it's still been very, very entertaining and very fun to watch. So we've been following along rather closely, I would say, to most things going on. So we have a pretty good grasp of things. So, Steve, let's start off today. The New Jersey Devils have been eliminated by the Carolina Panthers in 5. Any surprise there?
I thought New Jersey would play a little bit better just after the Rangers series. But Carolina's been really good, and they were your preseason pick to start the season, so this is no surprise to us. Maybe they stumbled a little bit down the stretch, but they were able to get the bad hockey out of them then and revert back to good hockey. So I think the Carolina Hurricanes here are in really, really good shape. They should get a little bit of extra rest now. Well, maybe not so much, but they're going to be more rested than Toronto or Florida. And the longer that series can go, and that's solely up to Toronto, obviously, at this point, then the more that's going to benefit the Hurricanes, I think, for sure.
Right.
I think they're in a great spot to go to the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, Steve, I would have to agree with you. I thought New Jersey was going to put up a better fight than that. I had them in 7. So incorrect there. Carolina just seemed to be a little bit too much for them. So there'll be somebody to look out for in the Eastern Conference Final, which will be starting soon. Who they are going to play is to be determined, although that's our first game up that we're going to talk about, the Florida Panthers in Toronto to take on the Maple Leafs. And, Steve, I want to see if you agree with me on this little note here. It would be much more beneficial if the Panthers can go ahead and just get this thing done tonight.
Oh, yeah.
And not have this drag on.
Yes. Yep, absolutely.
So you got to think that Florida is going to bring a good effort tonight. Not that they didn't in the last game. Both teams played very well. It was a defensive matchup. Goalies played outstanding. So, one fluke goal. This is the playoffs, Steve. These kind of things happen. You need puck luck. Toronto, they got that the other night. They had they were just dumping the puck in, and it hits the official in the corner of the rink and bounces out in the front of the net where there's a Leafs player wide open just waiting for it. And, of course, he cashes it in. Leafs go up 1-0. They ended up going up 2-0. Florida bounces back and gets one, unable to tie the game. So the Leafs pick up one there. But, that's the thing, Steve, is they got that puck luck. And without that, we might be talking about another team eliminated.
Yeah, absolutely, Dave. This is going to be a hard game tonight. This is a Friday night Toronto scenario at home where they're going to have a very loud fan base. And the trend is, you've talked about it to me off the air, is that the away teams do win. But I'm going to give Toronto credit enough for being a good enough team to be able to withhold a quick bouncing in this series. They may inevitably lose it, But I think they definitely take it back to Florida. And I think this is a tough spot for the Panthers tonight. The Maple Leafs, I think, can win at home. Minus 115 on the 60-minute line is nice. Probably nicer than the minus 1.5 plus 134. The empty net goals that we're expecting to see just aren't happening really for the most part now in this stage of the playoffs. I'm not sure why. I would maybe expect that trend to change as well. Maybe get some more of these overs to start popping back through. But this is going to be a tough spot for Florida. I think this goes to Game 6, and again, that's going to benefit the Hurricanes.
Yeah, absolutely, Steve. I am going to go the other way here. We have been, I don't know, Steve, we've been pretty different on this series at least. I know most things we probably, go along the same lines. I think this series, is not one of them, which is good. You want to mix it up here a little in the studio. So, Steve, I'm with the Panthers. Like I said, they've earned my respect. I would like to see them do well. So you're getting a nice plus 145 price on the money line. If you want to take it a step further, then the 60-minute line for the Panthers is bumped up even more to plus 215. And I think those are the two areas that I would probably look at the most in this one. I think, you leave, even though we've seen a lot of these puck lines come across and the alternate puck lines. So I think those are always in the game. But my feeling here is, we just talked about it. The Panthers need to get this done sooner rather than later so that, they're not facing a completely rested Carolina team while they're, dog tired after a long dogfight, so to speak. So, Steve, I think they're going to bring the effort. Road teams have been doing very well all playoffs. So a little bit of surprise. I think Florida has enough in the tank tonight, and I think they get it done. And then we see the Carolina Hurricanes and the Florida Panthers for the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, an old Southeast Division division matchup too.
Exactly. So anything else for that one, Steve? You got any kind of angles, player props, anything you want to throw in, or you just like the Leafs?
I just like the Leafs. That's basically about it. If you want me to put a number on this game, I'm going to say it's something like 4-2.
Gotcha. All right, Steve, let's move on. The late game this evening, the Edmonton Oilers, it has shifted back to Vegas. They're playing the Golden Knights. Your over is at 7, probably for good reason. Minus 130 on the money line for the Oilers, plus 110 for the Knights. And that's interesting, Steve. That would make the Vegas Golden Knights the dog at home. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, that's how we started this series with Edmonton, the favorite on the road at the higher seed Knights. This is a hard game for me. I expect a big effort from Vegas tonight. It does not shock me if Edmonton goes down 3-2, but still wins the series. I think this has the makings of 7 games for sure, and this is going to benefit, again, the Dallas Stars if they can go ahead and clinch up in Seattle, which is tomorrow night. Yep, a 7 o'clock game tomorrow night, standard time. But tonight, I'm going to give the nod to Vegas. I think they can win. I don't think it's any kind of super blowout, although they've done that to the Oilers. And, man, you're talking about 2 Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde teams at this point, to be honest. You really don't know what you're going to get. One night, Edmonton looks like the offensive juggernaut all-star team. The next night, they just can't find the back of the net. Not like they're not putting shots on there. They just can't get the goals. So I like Vegas at home and what will be just a loud atmosphere for these 2 home teams. It's just a Friday night. It's summertime.
Right.
I think all that adds to it and the excitement. So I'm going to give the nod to Vegas here. Again, if you're going to make me put a number on it, I could see this being an over game tonight, I guess. I could see a 5-4 game here or even 5-3 or even overtime 4-4. 5-5, something like that. So I think the over is a decent play finally tonight. A couple of times these teams should have gone over. They have high scoring first periods, and then they shut it down in the second period. I could see the onslaught of goals coming early and staying often for this one as well. But I'll favor Vegas in a high-scoring game.
All right, Steve. So this is going to be another one here. We have some second-round differences here. But you know what? That's okay. I think Edmonton, comes out on top here. It's 2-2 now, so you got to think if they can, again, the road team has been doing very well in a lot of these series. So, you got to think in the back of the minds of the Edmonton Oilers that if they can get it done tonight and then they have a chance to close it out at home instead of staying alive, hoping to force a game 7. And I think the Oilers are talented enough to do that, Steve. So I don't think I'm going to play the money line, even though I would give the edge to the Oilers. I think the over is the play here. You really want to get to that 4-4 total, I think, is what we're looking for. And we know that these teams have the capability to do that. But, Steve, see, the one thing that worries me about Vegas is, last game they took a couple penalties and the Oilers cashed in twice. They have a power play running at almost 51%, which is absolutely unheard of. So you have to play very, very disciplined against this Oilers team. And with their speed, they're good at drawing penalties. You get caught out of position, and a penalty is really the only thing that saves you from getting a goal scored on you. And then it doesn't really end up mattering because the Oilers go on the power play where they're almost automatic. So, Steve, that's my reasoning behind that. If they can stay out of the box, then they have a much better chance. But I just think the Oilers coming out of the West, they look really good, and I feel pretty good about them. I'm hoping to see a Edmonton-Dallas Western Conference final. I think that would be fantastic hockey. Probably one that we'd be in for 7 games on that one as well. So, Steve, I think the over at 7 is a good play. You could probably even move it up one more if you wanted to really kind of, push your luck, so to speak. So I think that's the best play here. Steve, anything else to this game?
Nope. We'll just at this point, anyone can score in these playoffs. It's hard to come across a goal prop and score, I think, or anything.
Right.
Anything like that. And I don't think we'll see any shutouts here in any of these series, to be honest. I mean, unless maybe Ottinger can get one for Dallas. We'll talk about that game next, I'm sure.
Yeah, so, Steve, all right, let's go ahead and go over that. Dallas, they are in Seattle to take on the Kraken. You got to think they're looking to close this one out on the road.
I think Dallas is good enough to clinch and end it. And, and if they're not, they're going to have the Game 7 at home ice at home.
Right.
And I think they'll end it there. So they're in good shape to move on, I think, with the Stars. They're a really good team. Seattle's been a really good team, too. But Dallas, I just think, is a little bit better, a little bit more playoff experience. And if they can wrap it up tonight, then they're going to get that little bit of extra rest as well before the Western Conference Finals start. So I think all the incentive is for Dallas to end it tomorrow night, Saturday evening, and I think that they will. That might be a circumstance as well, too, where the over-under is just 5.5, and you might get some empty netters there at the end to go well over that total.
Right. All right, so, Steve, I'm going to have to agree with you on everything that you just said here. We're going to side together on this one. Something that I would maybe take a chance on, though, I think a puck line is in play here.
Oh, yeah.
You got to think if it's close at the end of the game. We've talked a lot about it, and we haven't seen a lot. But, Steve, I think you're on to something, and that trend is going to change. If this is a 3-2 game late, I mean, you could see the goalie pulled with, 3, maybe even 4 minutes left. And then there you go. Your puck line is wide open. So I think this is one that I would take a chance. It's only a plus 165 number, Steve. So that's you would like it to be a little bit better in my eyes. But if you got it paired with something, it's only going to help your cause out even more. And, Steve, the big thing that you talked about is the rest, because going back to Edmonton and Vegas, I mean, they're beating the hell out of each other. They really are. I mean, the last game, that I watched the other night was one of the most physical playoff games that I've seen in a while. Come to the end of that game, they were fighting, slashing each other with their sticks. So there's a little bit of bad blood here, and they are beating the hell out of each other. So if I'm Dallas, I'm thinking, let's get this thing done. Let's sit back, watch those two teams club each other over the head for 2 more games, and then go and take it to them game 1 and send a message. So, Steve, I'm going to side with you there with Dallas. I think they're, the better team. Maybe not by a whole lot. Seattle's been a good story. They've played very well, a lot better than I think we thought in the playoffs. We said, it's a good story for them. Oh, good for them. But they've proved that they belong there. Mm-hmm. So, but I just think that Dallas has a little bit more, Steve. I really do. You got it?
Me too.
Anything else you want to add to that?
I mean, your boy Pavelski keeps scoring, so maybe keep throwing him in whatever props you have.
I had him, my the other things in that ticket failed me, but Pavelski scored. And then the other night I had Bouchard for the Oilers. He's a defenseman, and he has an absolute rocket there on the point, being a defenseman. So he was at a plus 380 number to score. Unfortunately, the other guys that I had with lower odds didn't, but he got there, so that gives me a little bit of hope there. So I think there's some possibilities if you kind of pick right and do a little bit of your homework. I think there's some possibilities for maybe some goal scoring props to come out of these.
The other thing I would look at is the Kraken, where he held the 2 goals last night.
Right.
And maybe it's time for Ottinger to get a shutout. So if he's paying anywhere like 12, 13, 14 to 1 for that, then I'd go for it. I don't see any line posted on the goalie props yet. So I don't know what it will be. They might give him enough credit and make that much lower than that, at like plus 900 or something around that line or that nature. But maybe there's a potential for a shutout closing game, 2-3 nothing Dallas win.
All right, good. All right, I like it, Steve. And you got to think, arguably, Ottinger is probably the best goalie left in the playoffs. Now, I say arguably because there is Bob Roski there for the Panthers.
Yeah, he started on.
And he has absolutely turned it up. He's playing lights out. I saw an interview, or I read an interview that, that he's back in the playoffs and he's really just enjoying playing the game much more now. He's with a good group of guys. He likes where he's at. So all those things help you mentally, especially, goalies. That's a very mental, just as much as it is physical position. So you got to think that's helping his cause quite a bit there. So Ottinger, Bob Roski, we could probably argue about that all day, but Ottinger definitely one of the best goalies left in the playoffs. So maybe it is his time. I'm sure the odds would be very, very good for that. All right, Steve, do you have anything else you want to add or any picks? Because, now we're just awaiting some results to see what we're talking about Monday.
Not really. I mean, I'd be interested to go over the futures for a second. I'll look at them.
All right.
I got them pulled up here. So Carolina is 2-1 now. Edmonton plus 370. Dallas plus 450. Panthers plus 500. Golden Knights plus 700. Toronto's getting a lot of credit for being down 3-1 with plus 1,100, and the Kraken plus 3,700. I'm not so sure I see anything there I like. I have Dallas already. Still a decent price, though, I guess, if you want the Stars. Now plus 450.
Panthers as well. I mean, you can't ignore that price.
To win the East, we have Carolina minus 140. I think that's a good favorite if you want to go ahead and take Carolina now. Panthers plus 185. Toronto plus 600. But I think the Panthers line goes up, only up. So if you want the the Hurricanes. Carolina Hurricanes, take them now at minus 140.
Yeah.
Because I only think that line moves. And then in the West, I don't really see any value amongst those three, really. Although Dallas, I guess, a plus 170 is okay. We're just a little bit late to the game on that prop.
Yeah, I think so. You're not really going to get
yeah.
great
So really,
numbers.
no plays there. We'll just take it game by game at this point and hope for the best.
All right. Well, Steve, I think that's going to do it. Like I said, we're just kind of awaiting some results from the weekend to see what we have to give here on Monday. So with that being said, Florida, Toronto tonight, possible elimination game. Game 5, Edmonton and Vegas should be a good one. And we're going to go ahead and get out of here. And if you have any tickets, good luck. And we will see you back here 6 p.m. Monday evening. I'm sure we'll have a lot to go over. So with that being said, we hope you have a good evening, a good weekend, and we'll see you back here in the studio Monday.